Welcome to A Game of Ice and Fire, a video series devoted to a Song of Ice and Fire wargame by Coolman You're Not. We cover all aspects of the hobby with tactics and list build videos, painting tutorials of varying levels, and battle reports. For the Baratheons, I'm still testing some Renly stuff, so I decided to bring Flayed Men this time. I think the Baratheon tactics really work well for them. I stuck Renly in a unit of Wardens so that I could put Bronn in Stag Knights and then put Brienne on some Sentinels to give them a little bit of a buff to their morale.
Alright, so here we're looking at my list. I brought in the Great Axes and Brynden Tully this time around for just trying out before I actually snag them. I had heard that they do pretty well, so we'll see how it goes.
So we're playing Game of Thrones, the newer version with the panic thing in the middle. Flayed Men are taking the side just to hit up some flanks, and then I'm kind of bricking Renly, the Knights, and the Sentinels in the middle just to go after those juicy objectives.
And with mine, I bricked up the Berserkers, Great Axes, and Sorn Swords with the Berserkers in the middle. Just going to try to overrun them through the middle there with Grey Wind off to the flank to pick up that left side objective. I chose to hold back the Outriders just to see if we could get some interesting sneak attacks in.
So for turn one, my army's pretty slow and Starks are always super fast, so my first order is to put Alistair Florent on the maneuver position and get the I believe these are the these are the Stag Knights that have Bronn in them. I want them to try and rocket up the table a little bit, and I'll be able to move on to that objective real early too and claim I believe this one's the restored D3 wounds objective.
I chose to take the crown just from past experience, trying to panic zap something early and see if I can generate some early wounds that way.
Yeah, and we got that nice bubble with Renly, so the units over there have the +1 to it, but you choose the Flayed Men, and I lose many a horse. So at -1 and 6, I lose 4 wounds. So my natural response is to take Shira and put her on the coin, and she's got that cool ability where she can put out a token afterwards, so I weaken the Berserkers, because I think they're going to be a or no, those are Great Axes I weakened.
Yeah. Which is usually sad times for me, but we're going to see if we can pull through. I grabbed, I believe that was Catelyn, put her on to draw 2 tactics cards and to see what I can do.
Remove my stupid condition token.
Exactly. But, yeah.
Yeah, as prescribed, the Stag Knights go up and claim this objective. I don't know if it's the super great place for them, but only having the 4 combat units makes it really difficult for me to assign the right ones to the objectives. I think the Wardens probably would have been better to take that, but I'm going to live in that world.
Yeah. And as you see there, I just maneuvered up and got on that objective with Grey Wind. I think that's one that gives me a free maneuver when I score it.
Yeah, free maneuver retreat. And I think you're behind a low wall, right?
Yeah.
It's a low wall.
So it seemed like a pretty organic choice for that one.
And for the life of me, I can't remember what objective the Flayed Men are standing on. I'm sure it'll unravel as the game goes along, but I don't want them to stay on that objective, but I do want to make sure that I can hold it a little bit. And there's something very unique about the way I'm moving here that'll come to view later.
Yeah. And here I'm grabbing the Sworn Swords with Greatjon. And we're just going to try to get them up the field a little bit and see what we can do as far as plugging up some holes.
Getting a little conservative with them, I think. Are you worried about the Stag Knights coming in on them?
Having not played against Baratheons at this point, yeah. I wasn't sure what to expect from them.
Yeah, well, you can expect those chuggy Wardens back there with Renly just clipping on up. Like I said, if I'd switched the positions of Renly's Wardens and the Stag Knights, I think they might have had a better time on that restored D3 objective. But this is the world I'm living in right now.
Yeah, and as you see there, I got the Great Axes up the board a little ways. I have a feeling I just wanted to get them into some Knights and see what kind of brick I could do with them.
Yeah, Great Axes, they're pretty good at taking down cavalry, so the Flayed Men should be a good target for them. For Mighty Cleave, they might be able to tank through that with having a 2+ save. But you could still get some pretty decent wounds on them, or maybe a wound or something like that each time you swing. But that Executioner Fury is the one to worry about.
Yeah.
For card draw, I think on this one I ended up pitching Baratheon. It's not the Resilience one. It's the Baratheon card that removes condition tokens and puts them on another unit. That is probably, of all the condition tokens in the game, probably the biggest flop for me. So it's usually the first one I get rid of. And you'll see here that we're kind of figuring out where Brendan's going to come in. So that comment about my movements, I didn't plan for him. I kind of forgot about it. Like, I knew he was there, but it just didn't. We hem and hawed for a while about where he was going to go, but this is where we settled him in. And what did you do right there, Mark?
I charge into the butt of some flayed men.
You did me a dirty.
Yeah, I got to get the free hits in when I can.
Well, and this was off the back of Devastating Impact and Rapid Assault, because you've got Catelyn coming down on the maneuver position so that you can take that, and then you got Rapid Assault on the Outriders, and then also got the +2 wounds from Devastating Impact.
Yep.
I ended up playing the Son of a Gun. What card is it? I think I might have played something. Oh, it's
some kind of retaliation.
It's the stupid. Yeah, I haven't played Baratheons enough to keep the numbers in my head, but it's not counterattack. It's when you get hit, you get to hit someone back, and I just can't remember the name of it for the life of me. I think at this point I maybe got like 5 Baratheon games under my belt, and I flop around so much that I just can never keep everything straight here. So my number one goal is to get rid of those stupid Outriders and get those flayed men healed up quickly, because the Umbers are coming at me, and I'm not really feeling great about the maneuverability of my Baratheon, so I kind of have to let those flayed men just kind of take it on the chin for a little while.
Yep. And here I chose to
it was Sansa that went on the horses.
Sansa went on the horses. There's Catelyn popped on there, try to get an extra melee swing in there, see if I can chew me up some horse.
Yeah, getting them right in the butt like that they're saving on 4s now instead of 2s, and having -2 to their panic check is a really big deal.
Yep.
But with you only hitting on 4s, you only get 1 at me.
Yeah, I did.
But I do fail I don't fail the panic check, but I fail the save. So they're living on a prayer.
Yep.
Or they're just real lucky.
Yeah. And here's where you proceed to kill off my unit, I believe.
Well, it was only 3 hits. I think it probably should have been 4 because there was a 6 and I missed the critical blow. But it was enough for you to fail a couple saves and then fail the panic check too. So success on the flayed men actually getting through on that one. Brendan always, no matter how many times I play against him, I'm like, I could ask you 20 times before the game starts, is Brendan Tully in an Outrider list or in the Outriders? And you'll be like, yep, all day. I could staple it to my forehead and I would still forget it every time.
See, I think with his card too, you don't necessarily have to have him in the Outriders unit.
No, you just have to have him.
Yeah, he just has to be in the list somewhere.
Yep. It's just that in the Outriders, he makes a lot of sense because they can retreat after they get hit, which I think is one of the things that we had talked about as like, this was a mistake, or just your first time playing
with him
at least, where the Outriders could have retreated from that counterattack that I had, and I know it's not counterattack, but it is what it is, and then restored D3 wounds back, or it's D3 +1 wounds with his retreat ability too, to let them set up next turn for another attack. But if you do retreat from the flayed men, they can just turn around and charge you again.
Right.
Which isn't probably exactly where you want to be.
Yeah. So I think right here is I went up and grabbed that objective to turn off.
I think you turned off Alistair Florent because I could switch
the tactic spots. Yeah.
And I had explained to you that like the big like pull, the reason why Alistair Florent's in here is really so that Bronn can just get the coin whenever he wants it. So right. I was trying to be a little bit more of a little bit more like forthright with how I was doing things. So I do opt to take a long bomb charge to get into the Sworn Swords, and I want to stay away from Berserkers. But if I go away from them, I'm gonna zap myself on that spike wall. So with the Stag Knights, though, I think I could take it. I was just being I had a recent experience with a spike wall that was real bad. I think it did 9 wounds to me over the course of a game.
Ouch.
So you didn't take a ton of hits, or you didn't take a ton of wounds here. You
I
rolled
just
like
saved
a rock
really
star.
well.
Yeah.
And then I think it was Lash Out where I swung back at
Yep,
you too.
he's lashing out for those 3 wounds. So again, if I would have gone over the other way, because right now I've just set myself up for a Berserker charge, which isn't exactly the greatest thing for me in the universe.
Not so much.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot I was wearing my sweet Hawaiian shirt that day.
Yeah, that was a special night. So yeah, I think like the problem with me is that the Baratheons they're an aggressive faction, but they kind of need to play their aggression a little bit more defensively, almost work like a catcher's mitt. So when I like jammed these guys right off into the middle of the board to try and get onto your commander right away to get Alistair Florent back for me, I just don't think it was the greatest idea in the universe, especially watching these Berserkers. Like, I'm just like, I want to scream at past Brian and just say, you are an idiot, because this was not a good move.
That's fair. I feel the same way about my Brendan Tully unit.
I think that you didn't. I don't think you expected him to go down that fast, and those
Yeah.
Flayed Men did. They did some pretty decent work. So no Catelyn influence, but I can weaken you, but I'm not going to be taking those 10 hits or whatever. So
I think it's 8 at this point.
I think it looks like 6 right now.
Yeah.
Which I save one of them, right? No, I don't. I fail them all. I don't save a single one. So this is just like Bronze just holding the zone down there. And he's not even holding anything. He's just like hanging out. He's
just chilling.
All the Stag Knights gone. So I decide to take the crown. And I don't know why I'm healing.
I think I turned off your other NCU. Because I think you took it with Alistair.
Why the hell am I don't know why I just... it was Renly's card that I played.
Oh, okay.
So Alistair Florent took the crown, and maybe they did something different with it. I can't remember. Like, I'm pretty sure it's a Baratheon card, and like Brian 2 weeks ago knows what he did, but Brian right now is kind of having a hard time putting it all together.
Yep.
Last night was my Donald Noy game where I tried out the Dark Woods, Dark Wards scenario and scored 6 points on turn 1. So I'm a little drunk on that still.
Yeah. And I think here I played the
Swift Advance to get those guys up a little further, which is not...
Gave them a maneuver so I could get in charge.
Not what I want at all. So one guy died, or no, 2 wounds came through, so I had to roll another 2, so I'm down to 1 Flayed Man right now.
Yep.
And I think that's 1 Flayed Man on full, even after the panic test.
Right.
So now my Sentinels, this always happens to me. Every game I've played with Baratheons, I'm like, well, my Killy units have to sit here and take the stupid objective. So again, Renly should have been the one camping on that objective, but he's just not. Right now, Sentinels are holding it down. And for what it's worth, I didn't say it earlier, but Brienne, she took her knightly vow on the Outriders, who I wanted to just stay away from my brick. And they did. But they meant to, right? So
yeah, it wasn't. That was by design.
Yeah. So you use your objective to retreat.
Well,
you want to use it to retreat, but then you're like, I don't want to retreat off the objective because we've already scored the points for the objectives. I've only got 1 from the Sentinels holding theirs that lets me restore D3 wounds, but you've got 2 right now, and you're retreating back the Berserkers so they can, of course, get in for another charge.
Yeah, or so they can get a charge in over that middle objective, I think was the plan.
Okay, yeah, because I guess the Stag Knights there aren't being real scary or anything right now.
Yeah.
So I think it looks like the objective that the flayed men had based on that roll that you just took was force a panic test on a unit.
Oh, sure.
So that's, I believe that's the thing that I had there. So we're, I think you were mulling something. Well, one of us was mulling something over. So I get a whole flayed man back for that. So I'm happy with the D3 heals. So now I'm up to 3. There's only one coin by you, but I think I just didn't put the coins out for the scoring this turn.
Oh yeah.
Because we're on turn 3. We already missed one of the scores for round 2. Well, no, that was round 2. Jesus.
Yeah. So I think I was just 1 coin short.
Oh, it was because you killed the. No, it wasn't. No, you didn't kill anything of mine.
Nope.
So I got 1 from Brendan and then 2 from something.
Yeah.
I don't know. We did the math right. I'm sure you go to the playback.
Or I might have just neatly stacked them because
it could be
OCD happens like that.
Maybe. So the Stag Knights are going because this is like their primo time. So I use Alistair Florent to take the combat zone and swing into Greatjon's unit. I don't get any rerolls, but I think I clicked them up for Sundering and Critical Blow instead of Vicious, which Vicious probably would have been a decent one to do.
Yeah.
So you lose like 3 or 4 guys, and you roll an 8 on your panic chest, which is a 9 with the forest. So you're fine. I'm not happy.
I'm enjoying this right at this moment. I think a lot of the time I'm just having issues with what cards I draw and how I can use them. I think getting a couple more games under my belt is definitely going to help out with that. Just, it's a lot of order of activation for me right now.
Well, and the Starks have such a strange game style. It's not that it's strange. I think the Starks, out of every faction in the entire game, they play 2 different games, right? They play the game that's on the table and the game that's in their hand because they're very different from one another. Whereas like the Baratheons and the Lannisters have a lot of counter strategies, and the Free Folk are just whatever, and the Night's Watch kind of just buff, so they play a very active game, so you kind of know what you're expecting from them. But everything with the Starks is your hand is going to allow you to do things that the table state isn't going to let you do.
Right.
So like you're constantly playing 2 games at once, and I think that Starks they're not extremely hard to learn, but they can be difficult at first. So I'm engaged with great axes. I do not want to be engaged with great axes with the executioner's swing. So I decide that the best course of action is to retreat my flayed men. And I only got 6 inches out of them, so I'm not really happy about the distance, especially since that unit has Rob in it. Or was Rob not in this? Well, yeah, Grey Wind's right there, so...
I think Rob was with the Great Axes just because they move so slow. I wanted to get that +1 mobility for him.
So putting 6 inches between us means that even a 6 will get you in.
Yep.
Which I'm not, or I mean, even a 1 will get you in. So it's not the number I wanted to roll, but it's what I got to work with. So I'm just really hoping that their 2+ save is what's going to keep them around.
Yeah, and I think here I took the crown. But switched it out so I could get the horse to get that free charge in.
Your sudden charge.
Yeah, sudden charge.
And those are many hits on the mighty swing. So again, I'm really hoping that the 2+ treats me well here, and I only fail 1. Only 1. So I'm happy with the way that turned out. So here comes one of Renly's cards, and I believe this is the one where I get to I get +2 to my panic test, and then for every point I exceed it by, up to 3 or 4, I get to restore a wound, which is perfect for them. Their morale is low enough to where they need the bump, and restoring wounds on flayed men is legit.
Yep.
So they decide to use their normal activation to retreat, and I roll a 5 on this one, so I get 10 inches away from him this time. I'm feeling like I'm safe. It doesn't look like there's a lot of distance between us there, but there's... Actually, yeah, it's not that much because the trays are 5 inches. So once you pivot, you could still fail your charge on like a 2.
Yeah, I think at this point I decided to leave the horses alone for a moment, just to try to clean up that unit of wardens.
The Stag Knights are the ones that are engaged with Greatjon's sworn swords.
Yeah,
but yeah, the flayed men, since they've activated, that's kind of like they're out of gas. They don't have any juice left or anything. So I tank my 2 saves. But you force me to re-roll with that vulnerable token. I only lose one guy this time, but their morale's pretty safe, so I'm not too worried about it. I
Yeah.
don't have the crown this time, so Braun's not pumping them up a bunch. But I still get to do Sundering and Critical Blow, which is, like I said, I think maybe Vicious might have been a good one here. But I at least get the Critical Blow to go off for at least one of them. And I'm not sad with the results that happened there. I would have liked to have taken another guy off the rank, but then you can just, if I do that, you can start Fury for free.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Braun is still, after 2 rounds of getting the snot knocked out of him, is still hanging around with a couple Stag Knights. So I'm pretty happy with the way they're looking right now. I think that unit is it's one where, like, when it first came out, people were really happy and excited. Then they played it a little bit and were like, these guys really aren't that great. And now that once I've played them a bit more, I'm like, I can see their place. They feel good.
Yeah.
So what are you contemplating right now? I mean, like, Grey Wind's basically holding down the fort. Greatjon is at the point where he's about to lose his contesting rights.
I think I was looking at getting those berserkers up the field to try to take that middle spot and hopefully just put down some wardens.
Yeah, and I think we did try to. I think I moved the Stag Knights a little bit because this way you can't charge them with the Great Axe, or not the Great Axes, but the Berserkers.
Because I couldn't see their side all the way.
Yes.
Or I wasn't majority in their side.
Yeah, majority of you was in their front. So I think this is where you're just like, you're stuck on now. I've got to go for the Wardens before they get on that objective.
Yeah, and I think I had a sudden advance or a swift advance in my hand. I was debating using it because I didn't know if I could roll that sweet 6 to get in there.
Yeah, that was a long bomb for sure. So I'm feeling okay because the Wardens are pretty stout on their own. So I think them absorbing the Berserkers is going to be okay for me, especially since Catelyn's not on them right now.
Right. And I think I had to put Catelyn on the Great Axes to remove the condition,
token
a
or
weakened
something.
token. Yeah.
Yeah, because that one helps me out a lot.
Yeah.
So this is another fine show of Baratheon resilience, in that I lost 5 of those saves. So the Stag Knights took some heavy casualties right away. The Wardens took some heavy ones. So I'm not feeling really happy about that right now. But I did have there was something that was allowing you to take me to do D3 to you.
Yeah, I don't remember what that was. I don't it's not one of their abilities, I don't think.
No.
It was a card that was played.
So the card that I just played now is the easy one to recognize, where Renly's unit gets to restore 2 wounds, and then I can restore 1 wound to each unit within long range. So lots of recovery going on there, and I did get a rank back, so now I can attack full, which I think is what I just did.
Yep. And I only lost 1 guy and tanked my morale. So.
Yeah, I know, that's so strange for Umbers, but I didn't hit real well, at least. Like, the Wardens, once they get stuck in, they're not like rock stars or anything, but they're all right.
Well, and I think that with the Berserkers being within short range of the tree, their morale checks are pretty easy to hit.
Yeah, you don't really have to worry about that ever, especially from me, because I don't do anything at all to modify your morale in a negative way. Like, I mostly just want to survive.
Yeah.
And there I pulled out the laser because I had thought that I wasn't in your front arc based on how far I got away. But that was not the case.
Yep.
There was just a sliver of their base hanging in line of sight. So you rolled a 1, and we were like, well, the way we had it positioned first, you had failed it. But then I was like, we can probably manufacture this with the pivot to make sure you get in. And then once I had turned the base around a little, you made it.
Yeah.
But it was Mighty Swing again, so I failed 2. And passed the 2 mighty swings, but then I lost another wound off a morale check. So these flayed men are not very brave, I'd say. And then the sentinels are coming up because they can see the writing on the wall with those Stag Knights.
Yep. I don't remember. Braun held in for quite a while.
Yeah, he's still in round 3 and hasn't lost well, of course he hasn't died, so that's not nothing. I think that unit with Braun is really good. Like, it's really hard for me to not take Bronn in a Baratheon army, especially with Stag Knights in there because he pumps them up so much. I could see like Bronn and Sentinels is a good one too if you don't want to spend the points for the Stag Knights. But I did rip through my whole hand that turn, so there was a lot of active stuff going on. I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I think at this point I pitched a swift advance because we were pretty tight quarters.
Yep.
So I wasn't terribly worried about losing out. And this is where I pull out the executioners.
Yeah, this is my nightmare
Yeah,
because I
So
don't
what
I
he-
don't get any saves against that. So I pass my morale though, but I do lose 6 wounds.
Yep.
So there isn't much left to speak of with the flayed men. But again, I've got another the retaliatory strike thing or whatever it is where I get to attack back. So I at least I hit with all 6, and then 4 guys go down, and they lose a couple more because of vicious.
Yep.
So I'm pretty happy with the retaliation that I got back out of that one. So we're activating them. Baratheon Resilience lets me get D3 wounds back when I activate the unit. And I roll bonkers on the criticals here, so I think you've got 7 saves to take.
Yeah.
And
I lost 4.
many a great axes died in that though just those short activations.
Yep.
But there's still just the 2 left there, which is a bummer.
Yep. And I grab the money, get some guys back just to try to help that unit out. Put Catelyn on there so I get to swing at full ranks.
And again, I am running away because I don't want to have to deal with the normal activation because those guys still have 1 activation yet. They took the swords earlier, and then I counterattacked them or whatever, and then I used my regular attack to get in on them. But now they're full on activation, so I can't afford another executioner swing. I just can't.
Yeah.
So retreating is my only option, and this time I roll a 6, so I'm pretty safe.
Relatively.
Because with Rob, unless you get a swift advance, you can't get me.
Right. And I might have had one in my hand. I think I was regretting pitching the one that I did.
Yeah, it looks like there's a swift advance sitting in your hand.
Or
not
I'm
in your
getting
hand, but in your graveyard.
a devastating charge, maybe? Is that what that is? Because I think I needed the 6 to get to you.
The 6 would mean that you would roll an 11. You would get an 11.
Yeah.
So maybe. Oh,
It
you
is
took
shenanigans.
it. Yeah, you took it, and I said, nope, you're not going to get them. And then you were like, well, fine, I'll just go into the back of the wardens, and I'm like, oh, fun.
Yeah.
And those are a lot of 6s. Not that they do anything for you, but that's a lot of hits.
Yeah.
And the warden, I don't have a master warden because, of course, Renly's in here, and that unit just goes kerplunk. That was not great saves that came out of that one. So now they get to surge forth, and those berserkers are sitting on that middle objective. So
Guess what?
yeah, there's we've got them facing off on the flayed men again. So thankfully I have the top of next turn, so I can at least do something with them. And it also meant that my Stag Knights have survived until now. But I think we're definitely are losing track of the points a little bit. I think maybe in the future I need to get like a little
Flicker.
flip chart or something like that.
Yeah.
But the Stag Knights swing in, and they do a decent amount of damage, it looked like.
It was, what, 2-3 guys?
Yeah, it looked like it. I think
I think I have a lash out in my hand.
there's the 1 point that I added up for you for getting the Renly unit.
Oh, yep. Yeah, I think I spend a little bit too much time debating what I'm going to do in between activations.
The longer the game goes and the more the less activations you have on the table, the worse it gets, really. Like, I've
Right.
still got 3 combat units. You've got 4, but one of them is basically worthless because he's just holding the objective right now.
Yep.
So I take the opportunity to not crown zap Greatjon's unit because I feel I haven't seen a Dire Wolf's Fervor all game, so I don't want to let that happen.
Right.
So I just decided to draw some more cards and put out a weaken token because I do know that you can Stark Fury with no problem.
Yeah. And I don't remember what card I played just then. I think it actually might have been a Direwolf's Fervor.
This one looks like it might have been Northern Ferocity or something like that, because whatever you did, it caused you to put a vulnerable token on me, and I
Right.
can't remember which. It has to be Northern Ferocity, right?
Well, no, Greatjon's Order
But I'm
makes
not panicked
you
and
panicked
vulnerable.
and vulnerable. Yeah, it's
I'm
true.
only vulnerable.
Interesting. I'm not sure. I don't remember which card does that. But yeah, no, I activated Greywind in the interim because I didn't want to accidentally kill that unit of Stagnites and then get charged by another unit.
By the Sentinels, because I just based on the activations I had, and you can see round 5, Braun is still alive.
Yep.
So now I catch up with the coins. Mark is sitting at 8 points right now, and I'm sitting at 4. So it's not looking super hot for the Baratheons, but I have like really ground down a lot of these units to where my chances are not evaporated. It's just that they're very unique.
Right. And I think when I get down to this point of the game too, it's really comes down to what can I do with what is around, I guess.
Yeah, you've just got to try and shut me out somehow. So I take Baratheon Conviction, so this is just a buff if I have the Crown or the Tactics position. But neither one of those I really want to take right now, so this is where Peter Baelish might be helpful. But if I had Peter Baelish, he'd probably be shut off anyways by the stupid objective.
Yep.
So I took the swords because I wanted to see if I could keep the Stagnites around. And unfortunately, it's Greatjon and Braun just squaring off because I couldn't. My hits were good, but you again the Sworn Swords ate their Wheaties this morning.
Yep. Just
And-
gotta tank them blows.
And Greatjon refuses to go down without a fight, at least. I mean,
Right.
that's been a long fight. Those guys engaged on turn 2, turn 3, and have still just been cranking it out.
Just chewing on each other a little bit, yeah.
I think you wanted to take the crown there.
I don't remember if I wanted to take the crown or if I wanted the wounds back. Because I was looking at the great axes too, and what they were going to be able to do this turn. I think I was worried about you getting the charge off on them and just clearing them out.
And that's definitely the concern with doing something like, because the Stagnites still haven't activated yet.
Right.
So they could, with just Braun remaining, kill the unit. But I think I decide to say, you know what, screw the Great Axes. I'm going to go in on Greatjon's unit because they haven't attacked yet either. So I just need to try and cut them off. And we do tons of wounds, or tons of hits to these guys. I think it's like 8 or 9, something like that.
I
Looks
think
like 9.
failed 3, so the 3 wounds I put back came right back off again.
God damn those things. And you pass your morale, especially like the tree's there and you're good. Even without the tree, you're good. So
Yeah.
this was like, I poured my heart and soul into killing that unit of Sworn Swords, and they just won't die.
Yep.
But I'm pretty sure you feel the same about Braun and his unit.
Oh yeah, we duked it out pretty well off just in that encounter in itself. I think this is where I'm trying to read the board.
Yeah, the tactics thing.
Couldn't see what kind of synergy I can get out of what's in my hand. It's such a weird.
Well, and the swords is gone right now, and half of your deck triggers off of that one, so
Right.
there's definitely some limited use there. But I think you're really just looking for, well, I thought you were looking for answers, but instead you're looking for a sudden charge.
Yeah,
You get
pretty
it.
much.
Which I wasn't, I should have like anticipated it, but I didn't. I still think the right call for me was to try and kill Greatjon's unit.
Yeah.
And under normal circumstances, it probably could have happened, but that's not how dice work. But
Yeah.
I shrug off all these saves with the mighty swing. So, it's not a bad deal that I decided to wait for them to get into him. I don't get to reroll hits for the flayed men now because of how they're situated, but they, with vicious and everything, they should do all right.
Yeah.
And
I think-
we hit with 5 with 6 total.
Yeah.
Or well, it was 5. I must have
5
picked
guys, yeah.
must have picked the wrong number. And
But-
you crushed the panic check.
Yep.
So they're still engaged. There's not much of anything I can do about that.
Yeah, and with being influenced by Catelyn, there's really no reason not to pull out the coup de grace on that one, or at least try to.
Yep, and the flayed men went down after the Executioner's Fury. 6 attacks. with Catelyn sitting on them. It just it wasn't in the cards for them. So no last stand or anything like that hanging out in my hand. I'm kind of running on fumes here, but I do, for the first time, decide to crown zap something, and
I think it was Greatjon's unit.
yeah, whatever it is, you failed it.
Yeah, I failed it
So-
hard. I think I was looking at the triggers off the cards to see if I could do both of them, but I think we decided it triggered off the same.
Yeah, because I think you have the North Remembers and Last Stand.
Yep.
So they both trigger off of when a unit's destroyed, even though the wording's just a little bit different.
Yep.
But they have the same trigger essentially. So you come through with
Looks like 4 there.
yeah, 4 of them, and
So
we both kill each other.
mutually assured destruction.
So that's probably like the most cinematic fight that I've seen between 2 units before. It's poetic.
Yeah.
So
Just-
if anything, like that was a worthy like witness for this one.
Right.
So Baratheon Conviction didn't do me any good.
Nope. And I think that was the point I needed to just
Yeah,
get
'cause
through to the end.
right now you're sitting at 10, and I'm like, well, the only thing I can do to win this game is table you, and the Sentinels haven't done anything all game, so I might as well just like go for it.
Yep.
Not that I think I can table you at all, but if I can like narrow the margins, maybe I can get some like cool bro points for myself.
Yeah. I think all in all, it was a really interesting game for me. I think I misspoke at the very beginning. I think this was the second game I had in with the Great Axes.
Yeah, because we played one together on New Winds of Winter.
True. Yep. So just being able to get some more playtime with them and see what happens. Looks like you completely smoked that
Yeah,
unit.
those Sentinels had been pocketing their activations the entire game. I get on the middle and go up to 6, and you've got the Great Axes left to go because they still haven't actually activated.
True.
And you decide to say, oh, let's just go for the long bomb charge. Nothing.
I think I failed that and then failed the morale.
Yep. Boxcars on morale, so I didn't even
Bye
have
bye,
to,
Great
I didn't even
Axes.
have to do anything. Those stupid flayed men have been trying all game to kill him, and all they need to do is just put a rock out in front of him. So I think that ends the game for us. But the Baratheons are a really unique faction. I think they definitely take some getting used to. I don't know if I like the flayed men with Stag Knights. There are 2-point sinks there, and it doesn't leave you a lot for putting them on objectives and stuff like that. I mean, they can get there, but just need some more time with them. How do you feel about where your Greatjon business is going, Mark?
I'm enjoying the list quite a bit. I've adapted it at this point and added a second unit of Great Axes. I picked up the Stark Heroes 1 box. So I got to experimenting with Brandon Hodor in a unit of Great Axes, and I'm having quite a bit of fun with that one. Just able to get the extra D3 automatic in there with brand skin changing is a real nice thing for him.
Yeah, Great Axes take attachments real well. Well, thanks for tuning into that one. You can find us on Facebook, and I leave the link to that below. We also have a podcast that we put out like bi-weekly, and that link's there as well. Otherwise, subscribe to the channel and click the notification button in order to know when I post videos, because I'm not always good about letting Facebook know when they go out, when the video's finished uploading. I hope you enjoyed this battle report, and I look forward to the next one.
Yep, thanks for having me.